Just before draft day this year, a surprising deal went down between the Celtics and the Sixers. The Celtics traded down from the first pick to the third pick in the draft and gained another future first-round pick as well. And with the number 1 pick in the draft, the Sixers chose Markelle Fultz, the polished beyond his years freshman from Washington. And without a doubt, he merited being the top pick as he possessed one of the most mature games from a one-and-done that I've ever seen. However, there was one slight issue that popped up in his scouting report. While he was an elite three-point shooter in college, knocking down 41% on high volume, his free throw shooting was a red flag. At 65%, it was extremely low for his position and also a big conundrum, since he was such a good three-point shooter. This might explain why Fultz went rogue during the offseason and decided to fix his free throw shooting on his own. It's worth examining what the issues were then because they certainly inform what has happened since. The first thing to notice is that he has a nice turn. His feet are parallel and turn to 11 o'clock in order to allow his right hip and right elbow to easily align to the hoop. However, watch how late he gets his feet set. He doesn't get them set until after the ball is set. He'd be better off getting the turn and alignment set up right as he receives the ball. Also, notice how he collapses his right knee into his left. For balance, I'd suggest keeping his knees the same distance apart through the whole shot. Lots of players do this, and I think it's as a reaction to being forced to have 10 toes pointed to the rim. Now that he's got the turn down, he doesn't need to cross his knee over, and I worry it could lead to knee issues eventually. Notice where he has the ball when he gets set. It's just below waist height. This is perfect in order to generate power and rhythm into the free throw. Years ago, they taught this method, like Larry Bird, to get set at shoulder height. This dissipates the energy the legs create and make for a less fluid shot. While it's less movement and certainly players were able to master it this way, it's so much easier when you start with the ball at waist level and then use the smooth flow of the ball through the set point and to the release point and up and out. Don't trust me? Try it. It's a minor adjustment that has reaped huge benefits from players that I work with. Next, notice how his wrist is not flexed back until just before he releases the ball. When you get that wrist back early, it eliminates the simultaneous movement of both his arms going up and the wrist cocking back. This is a problem when you have too many things going on at once. By flexing that wrist back early, it would do wonders for his consistency. And this is the first thing I adjust with loads of players who do this, and they'll look at me like it's magic because it fixes so many things. Let's look at the arc because that's also a major factor in both consistency and success rate. Notice how the first shot has an arc of 50 degrees, about 5 degrees higher than the ideal, and when he misses, Fultz struggles to maintain consistent arc, one of the biggest keys to successful shooting. Now look at his makes. The arc is lower, much closer to 45 degrees, and both shots are within 1 degree of each other. One more thing to note was how he doesn't train his focus on the rim until just before he gets into the shot. While not crucial, I'd recommend getting your eyes on the rim a bit earlier to allow the focus on the target to take hold before going into the shot. So cut to the Sixers training camp, and you might want to shield your eyes because this footage can be traumatic. Our first look, thanks to Mike Schmitz of ESPN, showed a dramatic change in his mechanics. Again, look away if you have a weak basketball stomach. Before we go farther, there are reports that his shoulder is sore and this is why he altered his mechanics. If that's the case, it's unclear why he would try to release the ball farther from his body. To me, this is putting more work on his shoulder, but perhaps it's the one groove he could find where it doesn't hurt his shoulder as much. Notice how he now starts the ball just below his chin, requiring more energy from his shoulder. And then there's a double dip with his knee bend, creating a rhythm problem and dissipating a lot of the energy from his leg extension into the shot. And by using a set point that far from his body, it limits the ability of the wrist and elbow to generate power, forcing his shoulder to handle more of the work. I went through his other shots to look for evidence where he winced or grabbed his shoulder or struggled with shots where he had to hold the ball out in his right hand away from his body and lift the arm up over his head. None of these shots indicate to me that he's suffering from anything serious, which is a good sign, and altering the free throw mechanics just before the season is simply a terrible idea. But a great idea is to get tickets and go to an actual game and see Fultz's free throws for yourself.
Anderson's got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets?
Did you try it?
The SeatGeek app?
But the game is sold out.
The games are never sold out.
On SeatGeek's awesome app.
Never?
So don't take credit from your kid like this psychopath.
Your dad's a genius.
Download the SeatGeek app, use my code BBall to get $20 off your first purchase, and get tickets to sporting events, the theater, comedy shows, and more. As if it couldn't get any worse, look at his free throws from the game the other night. His normal spin of the ball before getting set is still there, but now the set point is even higher, and he doesn't even get his shooting hand on the ball comfortably before trying to let fly with the shot. There is no rhythm or consistency with his motion as he hitches it before shooting it. However, his wrist is flexed back earlier than it used to be, so that's good, I guess. Notice how he's not collapsing his right knee across his left here. Guess what? It was reported he was suffering from right knee pain. But he's now got 10 toes pointing to the rim. He doesn't even bend his legs at all and relies completely on his sore shoulder and arms to generate all the power. The ball doesn't look comfortable in his shooting hand, and he shoots it before he gets a good grip. And there's plenty of hitching going on. Perhaps the shoulder is affecting this as well. I went back to look at point guards who struggled from the line in single seasons and discovered that the two worst seasons for free throw percentage by a point guard were the appropriately named Pooh Richardson in 1990-91 and Rajon Rondo in 2014-15. The troubling thing is that their career free throw percentage indicated they never figured it out from the line, and this makes it very difficult for a point guard to play deep into the fourth quarter of a close game. It would not be inconceivable for a coach to resort to Hack-A-Fultz if head coach Brett Brown insisted on keeping him in. And with the way he's shooting these, I don't see him ever getting consistent. If his shoulder heals, will he be able to find better mechanics? I certainly hope so. But until then, I fear this could become a mental block for him, especially if he's going to play around with it during the season. And make no mistake about it, this is the kind of process I can't trust in. Sports fans, to see more of our great NBA content and analysis, make sure to hit the subscribe button, but also click the bell and adjust your settings so you can get an alert the second our videos drop. Because trust me, you're going to want them hot and fresh. You in?